China raises tariffs on US goods from 34 to 84% starting on Thursday, following the US's tariff increase.
The CDU, CSU and SPD have agreed on a coalition agreement. The agreement paves the way for new leadership in Europe's biggest economy after months of political drift.
French President Emmanuel Macron has called for an urgent ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, as well as renewed humanitarian aid into Gaza.
China imposes 84% tariffs on US goods, taking effect on Thursday, according to a Chinese Finance Ministry statement on Wednesday. This comes after the US government announced an additional 84% in tariffs on all imports from China on Tuesday. This means China will be subject to a tariff of at least 104%. One expert believes that China won't hesitate to continue to retaliate.
If the United States wants to use maximum pressure against China, China definitely will launch more rounds of restrictions against the exports of rare metals to the United States. That will take a big bite on the American defense industry, and it may be too late eventually if the United States goes in the wrong direction, forcing China to retaliate against the United States.
The Chinese government has not said whether it would negotiate with the White House, as many other countries have started doing. According to the Commerce Ministry, China has also filed a complaint to the World Trade Organization over the latest US tariffs.
European markets moved lower on Wednesday morning as US President Donald Trump's sweeping new country-specific tariffs started to take effect. Germany's leading stock market index, the DAX, dropped 2.99% and London's FTSE 100 declined 2.55%. The sea of red across key European indexes comes as Trump levied a total import tariff of 104% on Chinese goods. US stocks also dropped after a second day of stunning reversals. The S&P 500 fell 1.6% on Tuesday after wiping out an early gain of 4.1%, which had it on track for its best day in years. Analysts have attributed the global market's reaction to uncertainty about what Trump will do with his trade war. Meanwhile, U.S. Customs and Border Protection confirmed on Tuesday it was preparing to collect the country-specific tariffs from 86 nations. While the US president has indicated he remains open to negotiations, he has also confirmed that the planned tariffs on Chinese imports would proceed.
The CDU, CSU and SPD have agreed on a coalition agreement, sources say. The parties are expected to host a press conference on Wednesday to present the new coalition.
Guten Morgen. Alle wünschen sich, dass wir fertig werden, die Bürger und wir auch.
Details of the agreement weren't immediately available, but Friedrich Merz, the leader of the center-right Christian Democratic Union, is expected to become Germany's next leader under the agreement.
Heute muss es was werden und wie es immer so üblich ist, zum Schluss hebt man sich die schönsten Sachen auf, also nochmal konzentriertes Arbeiten.
The coalition deal will need approval in a ballot of the Social Democrats' membership and by a convention of Merz CDU. The agreement paves the way for a new leadership in Europe's biggest economy after months of political drift.
At least one person was killed and dozens more injured by Russian attacks across Ukraine. Kharkiv's governor said waves of Shahed-type drones caused at least 15 explosions in the city, killing at least one and injuring 7 others. The drone set off multiple fires and hit civilian businesses and service stations. 17 people were reportedly injured after Russia launched a drone attack against Dnipro. Houses, cars, high-rise and administrative buildings were damaged in the regional centre. A Russian strike also hit the Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk in Donetsk. 3 members of the same family, including an 11-year-old girl, were reportedly injured after a drone strike hit a residential building there. Others were injured in the Ukrainian regions of Kherson and Zaporizhia.
The ongoing spread of foot and mouth disease across Central Europe has forced several large farms in Estonia to close their doors to visitors. No cases have yet been detected in the country, but outbreaks reported in Hungary and Slovakia have prompted agricultural workers to introduce preventative measures.
No agroturismi ahvatlus ehk näidata tarbijale toiduteekonda põllult väldrikule on väga väike võrreldes selle riski ja hirmuga, mida võimalik pandeemia kaasa toob.
Farms have also implemented several biosecurity protocols on food, the movement of livestock and employee hygiene. Meanwhile, checks to prevent the spread of the disease have led to large queues at the Slovak-Czech border, as transporters of animals, animal products or animal feed can only use 3 crossings when travelling between the two countries. The Czech Republic has not reported any cases of the disease on its territory, but Slovakia has experienced 6 outbreaks of the highly contagious disease in cattle and other animals.
Emergency officials in the Dominican Republic say they have been working to find more survivors after the roof of an iconic nightclub in the capital, Santo Domingo, collapsed during a concert by popular singer Ruby Perez. The death toll in the disaster rose to nearly 100, with more than 160 people injured as of early Wednesday. Authorities have warned the figure may rise further as crews continue the search for potential survivors and pull out more bodies. The Professional Baseball League of the Dominican Republic posted on X that one of its former players was killed in a disaster, while relatives of the singer Perez say he is among those trapped in the debris. Jet Set, a popular nightclub in Santo Domingo that regularly hosts dance music concerts on Monday evenings, is regularly attended by politicians, athletes and other prominent figures. It wasn't immediately clear what caused the roof to collapse or when the Jet Set building was last inspected. The club was celebrating its 50th anniversary according to its Instagram account.
Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni welcomed King Charles III to Rome on Wednesday morning, hosting him at the historic Villa Pamphili. Later in the day, King will address a joint session to the Italian Parliament, marking the first time a British monarch has delivered a speech to Italy's legislative body. He follows in the footsteps of Pope John Paul II, Spain's former King Juan Carlos, and current King Philip VI, who have also received this honor. The visit is part of a state trip to Italy that began on Monday with Queen Camilla accompanying the king. On Thursday, the royals will travel to Ravenna in northern Italy to mark the 80th anniversary of the region's liberation from Nazi forces during the Second World War. They will also meet farmers affected by the recent devastating floods. This trip marks King Charles' first overseas visit since being briefly hospitalized for side effects related to his cancer treatment, highlighting its significance as both a diplomatic mission and a personal milestone. Before addressing the Parliament, King Charles visited the Senate, where he was welcomed by the President of the Italian Senate, Ignazio La Russa. Senate President La Russa also gifted King Charles with a faithful reproduction of the Senate bell.
Protests against the new law banning LGBTQ+ pride events and restricting the freedom of assembly have been held for the 4th week in a row in Budapest, with thousands gathering on the Elizabeth Bridge over the Danube.
Az egy héttel ezelőtti tüntetésen Hatházi Ákos a színpadon bejelentette, hogy erre a hétre 24 órás hídlezárást terveznek. A rendőrség azonban végül csak 12 órás demonstrációt engedélyezett.
Demonstrators waved both rainbow and Ukrainian flags, uniting their causes in a protest against recent government policies perceived as echoing those of Russia.
Ezért vagyunk itt, hogy ne fosszanak meg minket a jogainktól, vonják vissza a gyülekezési törvény módosítását. Az ember társas lény, ha már ketten vagyunk, az gyülekezésnek számít, Magyarországon be kell jelenteni. Ha még ezt is megvonják tőlünk, akkor vége a szabadságunknak.
A lényeg az, hogy megmutassuk, hogy itt vagyunk, hogy nem adjuk fel, és hogy nem fogjuk tűrni a megaláztatást, hanem kiállunk magunkért.
Two protesters even organised a picnic on the bridge, just as they did during the 1990 taxi blockade over petrol prices.
Maximálisan egyetértünk mindazokkal, akik itt rajtunk kívül itt vannak, és mi a magunk módján ezzel szeretnénk pluszba hozzátenni valamit.
Groups that separated from the main demonstration went on to occupy several other bridges in Budapest throughout the evening. The organisers are planning to stage a full 24-hour demonstration on Elizabeth Bridge next week.
In Berlin's Gardens of the World, the cherry blossom has marked the arrival of spring. Many Berliners made a special trip to the park to get a glimpse of the pink and white trees. It is one of the first blossoms to see the sun after winter.
Wir haben fast 100 Bäume, 100 Kirschbäume hier in den Gärten der Welt. Und wenn man jetzt davon ausgeht, dass ein Baum so 35.000 Blüten hat, dann haben wir im ganzen Park verteilt fast 35 Millionen Blüten. Das ist schon etwas Magisches.
The cherry blossom stands for new beginnings and transience. The flowers only bloom for 10 to 14 days. They're also closely linked to Japanese culture.
Wir hatten unser erstes Date vor 6 Jahren hier und deswegen gehen wir jedes Jahr wieder hierher, wenn es sich ergibt.
Some visitors find the cherry blossom evokes the feeling of spring.
Es blüht wieder alles und normalerweise bei uns alles in grün. Und dann eben diese rosane Farbe noch dabei zu haben mit der Sonne, die wieder scheint und weniger Regen. Und ich glaube, das ist das Gefühl, was gegeben wird dadurch.
After the fall of the Berlin Wall, a Japanese TV station donated several thousand trees. They were planted at symbolic sites of the division of Germany, including in the former border strip.